Hi, I'd like to welcome everybody to Accounting 6302 for the first summer session of 2026. My name is Wayne Counts, and I'm your instructor for the class. I've been teaching accounting, roughly 30 years now. Um, anyway, I'm happy you're here. It's a very accessible class. I think you can learn a lot if you want to. Um, Obviously, some people just are concerned about getting their grade, and that's okay. I've had those classes myself. So whatever suits you, that's just fine. But for those of you who are going to manage, I would um, just suggest to you that while you cannot manage only by the numbers, that you have to understand the numbers in order to manage well. So anyway, I just want to go over a few things in the course and how it's structured and everything like that. Um, the obviously we had um, a little bit of problem with the syllabus, and I will be sending an update to the syllabus. The only change will be to the exam portion, where in the current syllabus you have, it says it's open book, but because most students now get the ebook, that's really not very practical to have an open book and have lockdown browser. So what we're going to do is that you'll have open notes. It'll be one page front and back for your midterm exams and 2 pages front and back for your final exam. So that being said, the course is broken down into 4 modules. Um, the modules are based roughly on general concepts. And so the early part is more introductory. The back end is more on evaluation of people, but both at the mid-manager level and then the strategic manager level in the final module. That being said, um, this course starts out a little bit heavier and then gets lighter as it goes. For example, the first 2 modules have 5 chapters each that we cover. The second 2 modules only have 3 chapters each that get covered. So it's weighted a little bit heavier in the beginning. I personally think, and most students find, that the most difficult material is in the second module. So pay attention to that. Um, I tend to think, and most students agree, that the third and fourth module are a little bit less computational. There are still computations, but it's a little bit less computational and more conceptual in nature. And so a lot of people do better with those type of things. Um, the first 2 modules are much more computational in nature. Now, this being an accounting class, you may be surprised to learn there aren't a whole lot of journal entries. It's about managing the firm as opposed to creating the information for outside users. Here, we're creating information for inside users. And so, because of that, there is no, quote, gap, right? There is no generally accepted accounting principles. What there are theories and concepts that people have found to be useful over the years, and they're pretty standard. You can pick up. There's probably 20 or 30 different books that address this, textbooks that address this type of material, and they're all pretty common as to what they do and how they present. This particular textbook is a strategic emphasis. And so we're looking more at it from a CFO, a CEO standpoint, as opposed to the accountant preparing the information. So it's how you use the information to make decisions. We want to emphasize decision making here as opposed to preparation, which is like an undergraduate accounting course is much more on preparation. This is much more on interpretation and using of information. um, So I think the best way to go through is through the modules themselves. The reason I say that, obviously, if you want a quick hit, just go to the syllabus page and it'll tell you what to do next and all that kind of stuff. But if you go through the modules page, you'll find the PowerPoint slides are embedded there. The lecture notes are embedded there. There are videos for most, not all chapters. I'll try to update some of most of the first two modules. I think there's videos for every chapter um, on that. And then the biggest thing, which most students are concerned with, is there are exam prep videos and old test questions in the modules that you can download and practice and go over. I suggest on the practice questions that you try doing them yourself first with your notes. And they'd be good to make your notes off of these questions as you do it first, and then go over the video and see what you did right and what you did wrong. Um, so that's one thing that I think will do. Now, one of the things that I've structured, which I know is not a best practice, but I do it, it's a trade-off. Um, I have structured everything so that your homework, your discussion questions, and your exam are all due the same day. So the first one will be due May 23rd. You'll have 5 chapters of homework due. You'll have the discussion questions due. That's one discussion question due. And then your exam is due all that same day. Now, I know that's not a best practice. We know how learning optimally takes place, which is spaced repetition. So ideally, I would have you have things due every couple of days so that it would force you to do it. Go into your short-term memory, you sleep, it goes into long-term memory. Then when you repeat something very similar, it strengthens that pathway. But the trade-off is most of our students are working professionals. And so, in order to accommodate that, you give the trade off of what's a best practice for learning versus what's how students have to structure their lives. And this is no judgment on you. I certainly, when I was in graduate school, 30 plus years ago, I certainly, studied a lot towards the end, right before tests. We called it cramming in those days. I got to the point where I renamed it just in time learning. There would literally be days where I would learn something in one class that I would use 2 or 3 days later in another class. And so I understand that. I don't look down on anybody for doing it. It's the nature of our lives and the society that we live in, that we're very busy, probably overextended in many ways. But I admire you for getting your graduate degree and going through this process. I think it will be very rewarding for you. Let's see. As for the homework, it's done in Connect. The way you access that is the first homework is chapter 2 homework. I suggest you look over the material, at least the PowerPoints and the lecture notes. When you do that, and then go and try the homework. You have 3 attempts at the homework. What I don't want you to do is to beat your head against the wall. So if you run into a problem, please, if you don't get it right and you don't see it, you look in the book and I don't see what I'm doing wrong, contact me, because, practice doesn't make perfect. Practice makes permanent. And so if you're not getting something for some reason, please contact me. We can schedule either a Teams meeting. If you're in the area, you're lucky to come. You're lucky, not lucky. You're certainly welcome to come visit me in person at the office. I'm here Monday through Thursday. usually from about 1 to 3:30. Actually, I'm here a little bit longer, but that's my official times, 1 to 3:30. I usually get here around 11:30, 12, somewhere like that, and stay till 4:30 or 5. But um, I prefer working in the office and separating home from work. But that's just me. Um, and so you're welcome to come see me if you're in the area locally. That's fine. I'm more than happy to do a Teams meeting with you, phone calls, but oftentimes email works very well. One of the advantages for me with email is that I type so slow, I have a lot of time to think about something, but that's beside the point. Um, so email oftentimes is a great way to do it, but don't think you're here alone. Now, I've put out the videos and that kind of stuff. Obviously, I think I'm presenting it in the best way, but we don't all learn the same. And so if you're running into a problem, please contact me. I'm here for you. Um, and I'm more than happy to help you work things out. Um, Now, due dates, that's the one thing I am a bit of a stickler on. I guess that's because I'm an accountant and I'm kind of a tax accountant. If you think about tax accounting, we've got we have to do it by the deadline, but then we have 3 years to correct it and get it right. So, um, that's my nature, my bugaboo. If something does happen, in order to have your due date extended, you will have to contact me before the due date. You can't sit there and come in 3, 4 days later and say, "Oh, I didn't get it done. I forgot about it. I'm sorry. That's too bad." You have to take care of business no matter what. I know life happens, stuff, you've got 12-day. I've structured this mostly for 12-day intervals. If it was an 8-week class, it would be 14-day intervals. But since it's a 7-week class, it's structured on 12-day intervals. um, and so your due dates will change every week. So the first one is like Friday or Saturday, the 23rd, whatever that is. And then the next one will be June 4th, which is like a Tuesday. Um, so that's going to roll as you get done. Now, for some people, the homework will be fairly easy and straightforward and won't take them any problem. We have people who are accounting majors. Very little of this will be brand new to an accounting major who was an undergraduate in an accounting major. But for other people, they come from they're getting their MBA. The only accounting they've had is 6301, and so they're not really steeped in accounting and all that kind of stuff. And so a lot of them aren't quantitatively organized. That's okay. Um, that's what we're here for, is to help you. Um, but don't put it off. You're not going to get 4 chapters done in 8 hours. That's just not going to happen. 4 or 5 chapters done in 8 hours. So plan accordingly, work on it. Now, that being said, it is not my nature to be your mommy. I hate to put it in those simple words. I'm not going to sit there and nag you. You get 5 days out and, oh, you haven't turned anything in, you better get it. That's not my job, right? That's your job to take care of yourself. I come from the school of thought that education is more than just the learning, the knowledge in the classroom. It's showing that you are disciplined. The kind of called the signaling theory. Signaling theory is a big communications theory, but that you can develop your time, you can manage your time, and you can take care of that, and that's on you. And so I'm not going to hound you and say, "Oh, you better get after this. You're not doing what you need to do." You're professionals, you're adults, and I plan to treat you like that. Um, let's see. Um, Obviously, about 50% of your grade is the midterms. Another 20% is the final exam. The final exam it's quasi comprehensive. What do I mean by that? Your exams will consist of multiple choice and some problems. Um, and so the multiple choice is about 60% of the test is multiple choice. And on your final, that 60% will all come from the last three chapters that you do 17, 18, 19, and 20. The problems, however, will come from throughout the semester, and it won't be a secret. I'll tell you, you know, let's say that there's um, five problems on the final. I will give you seven possibilities of what type of problem it will be. So it won't be a secret on that. But anyway, I'm eager to get to know you. Please do your introduction video, or not video. It's not a video. Let me take that back. Do your introduction post. I think I actually made that equal to a discussion board at 20 points each. And so make sure you do that. Make sure you do your authentication. We are required to do the authentication. That's a Department of Education rule. That's not a UTPB or UT system rule. That's a Department of Education rule that we need to follow. So make sure that you do your authentication. I look forward to a good, although it's a fast semester. Don't let time sneak up on you. That's probably the biggest challenge I see for most students is taking care of their time management, because it's 7 weeks. 8 weeks is fast. 7 weeks is a bit of a sprint, but it is doable. Lots of students, but most students get A's or B's out of this class, and so that's should not be an issue. And so I look forward to meeting you. I look forward to working with you. Don't be a stranger. I will say one of the things, when you do email me, you can dispense with "I hope you're having a nice day" and all that good stuff. It's fine. I'm a to the point type person. So just send me what your question is. I'll send it back. Um, that doesn't mean I try to be rude or anything. I try to be polite. At least I hope I try to be polite. But, I literally get 200 emails a day. So, I try to keep it to what's important in your thing. That said, obviously, if you come through Canvas email, it'll say what class it's in. That's fine. I don't have another class right now. I'll have another class starting June 1st for the whole summer session. So if you email me through the regular email system, please put your 6302 in the subject matter, so I know what class it's. The two classes I'll be teaching are different enough. I'll probably be able to tell from the context, but it just makes it easier to make sure I know what class I'm dealing with when I open an email. But other than that, I wish you the best of luck. Please don't be strangers, and we will see you throughout the semester. Take care.